Chelsea against Lille in our biggest game of the season so far by a mile. Anything but a win is not good enough. We need a win. Lampard needs that win. Tomori is out injured, but we are boosted by the fact that Antonio Rüdiger is back fit and part of the squad tomorrow. Just a question, will he be enough to solve our defensive problems? Hello there guys, and welcome back to Blues Fans TV for another Champions League preview of mine on this channel as we go into, in my opinion, our biggest game of the season so far by a mile. It's such a huge game. We've had a couple of big games so far this season, the Super Cup and obviously all the other games against, the top 6 teams and whatever, and Ajax at home, Ajax away. We're all big games and everything. But, none of those were so much dependent on as there is depending on tomorrow's game. It is absolutely massive. It's absolutely massive. From our opinion, Lampard and the players can't afford to lose this game. We just cannot, I should rephrase, we just can't afford to be knocked out of the Champions League, basically. Even though our last 3 games haven't been great, the general feelings have been by the pundits, by the media, by fans of other clubs, have been that we've done well so far. Surprisingly well, in the opinion of some people. And if we then got knocked out of the group stage in a group that, it's not easy, but it's not anywhere near as difficult as Lampard is trying to make everyone else believe. And then also without winning a game, because if we need to win tomorrow, really. We'll get into the specifics for that in a second. We kind of need to win tomorrow. And then if we don't, so get knocked out of the Champions League, then we wouldn't have won any of our 3 home games in the Champions League group stage, which that would just all be very, very bad. Now, just quickly for, I guess, to be very detailed about it, to be as specific as I can, we don't actually need to win for any chance to go through. We just need to win to go through regardless of what happens in the other game. Now currently Ajax are on 10 points, Valencia on 8 points, Chelsea are on 8 points, and Lille are down on 1 point. They're irrelevant to the going through process here. Of course Valencia are ahead of us on head to head because we drew in Valencia but they beat us at Stamford Bridge, so they will be ahead of us no matter what the goal difference is if we both stay equal on points basically. That's just as simple as that. So if we win, of course we go from 8 to 11 points and then we will be through. Then it will just depend on the other result as to whether we come first or second. Now, if Valencia then beat Ajax, in the game that happens at the same time tomorrow, then we will both be on 11, and Valencia will be ahead of us on head-to-head. If we win and they draw, we will be level on points with Ajax, but we will finish the group first. We will top the group because we are ahead of Ajax on the head-to-head between ourselves. And then, of course, if Ajax win and we win, then Ajax is just first because they will be on 13 points and we will just be on 11. Now, if we get a draw, we would, of course, be on 9 points, while Valencia, are currently on 8 points. So if we get a draw against Lille tomorrow and Ajax beat Valencia, a draw would also be enough for us to go through. A defeat will never be enough for us to go through because then we will always be behind Valencia on head-to-head. So we need to at least get a point, and in that, if we get a point, hope for Ajax to beat Valencia, or, just win. Just beat Lille. That's the simplest thing. Let's just do it that way. But now let's talk about our opponent. That, of course, is Lille. They currently sit 3rd in Ligue 1 with 28 points from 17 games. 9 points behind league leaders PSG, who do actually have a game in hand over them. Now, Lille actually are in quite good form. 3 wins on the bounce in the league recently. 3 1-0 wins, actually, over Dijon, Lyon, and Brest. Although, actually, those 3 games, they didn't all necessarily deserve to win those. Against Brest, yes, but Dijon and Lyon were a bit lucky, I guess. But before those 3 wins, they were actually in a pretty bad spell. 5 games without a win, 4 losses in those 5 games. But to be fair, those defeats came to Marseille, Valencia in that rather unfortunate defeat I spoke about, before our last Valencia game against PSG, and then Ajax in the last round of the Champions League. So, they lost to big teams, but they still had 5 games without a win in there before obviously winning the last 3, like I said. Now, they do still tend to go for a 4-2-3-1 formation in most games, like they did against us back in October, but they have used the 3 at the back formation on a couple of occasions as well, like in Valencia, for example, where they lost, and also against PSG, where they lost. So we'll just have to wait and see what they end up doing against us tomorrow. Their biggest danger man is without doubt still their striker Victor Osimhen, with currently 9 goals and 3 assists in the league, with that second highest goal scorer in the league at least actually being former Blue Loic Remy, but only on 3 goals. Now, as we know from the game against them, when we played them on October 2nd away from home, their biggest threat is their pace, and that especially on the counter-attack. And we will need to look out for that. We really need to look out for that because we cannot get carved open like we did in Valencia again. We cannot let that happen again. Even if we then somehow scrape the win, I don't want to see that again. At the same time, though, the goal we did concede against them, they scored from a set piece. So we really need to be looking out for more than just their counter-attacks. It's a little bit more than that. And generally, we're just not that good at defending set pieces, as we all know. And Lille, they're just a good team. Except maybe their 3-0 loss to Ajax on the first day, first match of the Champions League group stage, they were always a threat and a problem for their opponent, you know, in the Champions League. Whether it was against us, Valencia, or Ajax. Regardless of them only picking up 1 point so far, they are good. And if we're not on it, if we can't handle the pressure that the players will feel tomorrow night, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in big trouble. So let's not underestimate them, but still know that we are the better team and should win. The question just is whether we will. But that was really it about Lille. And now let's get into Mr. Frank Lampard's pre-match press conference. And there was a bit of interesting stuff going on at the start about team news. Because Lampard, first of all, did confirm that Antonio Rüdiger is part and will be part of the squad tomorrow night, and that he also has a chance to feature. You know, he didn't specify whether he would start, whether he would be on the bench, whatever, but he is part of the squad tomorrow. And Lampard said that Rüdiger looks fit and ready to go. And that's really what you want to hear. He said he's been training really, really well. They've been putting him through the paces in training to try and get him as match fit as you can be without playing matches. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there, especially because Fikayo Tomori is out of the game tomorrow with a minor strain on his hip. Something that Lampard said he's struggled with for a little while, and he's now kind of been given a few days to properly get over it. And possibly that is why he didn't start the last 2 games. Lampard didn't say it, that's just me speculating. Because obviously some of us were questioning why wouldn't he start against Villa? Okay, rest maybe. But then why doesn't he start against Everton either? Maybe that's why. But he was on a bench, so I'm not 100% sure. And also Olivier Giroud is out. Not sure what the problem is with him. Lampard didn't specify. On the general physical condition of the squad, you know, are they tired or whatever with a lot of games at the moment? Lampard actually said that he thinks the players are okay. We're doing pretty well with that. But he says we'll have to just wait and see how, especially the young players, keep dealing with it as the games will keep on coming thick and fast. Just next week we don't have a midweek game, which of course will be good. Zuma was the player that spoke after Lampard, but to be honest he wasn't asked and didn't say anything particularly interesting, just said that tomorrow's game is like a final for us. But that was it from the press conferences, I guess, and now coming to Chelsea. And I'm struggling here. I was really annoyed after the Everton game. I was annoyed after the West Ham game. Even though we beat Villa and I was happy with the second half, I was generally not like over the moon, you know, with that performance either. The Valencia game, the City game, it's not been too great. Like the last 3 or 4 games, we've had a lot of problems. Defensively, clearly, but also going forward. Like we get into good positions at least, 7, 8, 9, 10 times every single game. But then almost always, it's a bad decision or a good decision badly executed that stops us from scoring. Like how many times were we in the box against Everton? We could have easily, like with just a slightly better decision making and slightly better execution of a couple of situations, we could have easily scored 5 or 6 goals at Everton. Easily. And, you know, the problem is we don't score, we get nervous. We build the opponent's confidence, and that then in turn makes them much more likely to score and us much more likely to make defensive errors, which when you have a young team and slightly defensive, you know, error-prone defenders, obviously makes everything worse. Obviously, the fact that we conceded in the 5th minute already, then with a new manager, that made everything a whole lot worse in Everton's case. But generally, that is always a problem. If we don't score, we get a little bit nervous. You can just always feel that. And then the opponent, you know, builds it up in confidence as well, especially when they're, you know, an opponent that doesn't necessarily expect to get anything from a game against us. You know, we just see it every week that we don't score. That's why our home record isn't all that good, because we sometimes just can't manage to score in the first half, and then we go into the second half, the opponent's confidence grows, they're like, let's go for it a bit more, and, you know, then we kind of make silly mistakes and we concede, and then we're screwed. Or we just do get it over the line, we finally score 1 and we score 2 and then we're fine. But when we just don't take our chances, that's when we're in big trouble. And while I would like to think I know quite a lot about football and understand it pretty well, I don't have a simple fix for our current problems. I just don't. I don't personally think that Rüdiger will come into the team and will solve the problems. I don't think it matters all that much defensively which of our fullbacks start. Offensively, yes, it matters, but defensively, I don't think it makes much of a difference, to be honest. They're all, you know, prone to errors. They're all prone to mistakes, except Alonso, obviously, you know, don't start Alonso. And I also don't think that none of our midfield 3 combination is working perfectly at the moment. Like, you can debate all you want. There's some nights that will work and some nights that will work, even against the same opponent. Like, it's just a bit strange at the moment. But getting into the team, and of course starting from the back as always, and as much as Kepa has been criticised, he will and should stay in the team in my opinion. But he does, of course, need to improve. It's as simple as that. He can't be making mistakes like he has done recently. At centre-back, with Tomori out, I really do hope that Rüdiger is able to start. I really do hope so. I'm not sure he will be anywhere near as good as people, you know, hope for him to be or think he will be. But I just don't want to see Zuma and Christensen start together again. I just don't. And even though Zuma was arguably worse than Christensen against Everton, even though I didn't really realise that straight after the game on live review, as I thought about the game, I only really clocked that. I want Zuma and Rüdiger to be the pairing that starts. I just find Christensen to be so frustrating. Like, he's so frustrating. The man falls over more than Morata did. And he's a centre-back. Like, stop falling over, lad. It really annoys me. So I would go for Rüdiger and Zuma in that combination. At fullback, because, you know, we have to win, Reece James has to start because he is by far our best attacking fullback. He gives us the most, like, attacking threat from the fullback position. The question just is who starts at left back. Now, personally, I'd actually prefer Emerson in theory, but because it's such a big game, I want Aspie to start. Aspie pretty much always turns up at big games, so I think that is probably the best thing to do. Even if Reece James and Aspie have then started multiple games in a row in those positions, and maybe they're not fully fresh and everything, I think we need to go. At least in my opinion, we need to go with that against Lille tomorrow. And then coming to the midfield, I just don't know, guys. I just don't know what's the best solution here. I don't even know what I really want, in all honesty. I mean, I said it before, without Mount and his runs from midfield, we're not as dangerous going forward. But we haven't been dangerous going forward since he's come back into the team after the City and Valencia games, which he wasn't in the team for. And personally, I just think we need all of Kante, Kovacic, and especially Jorginho more than we need Mount. Like, there's certain parts of every game when we need Jorginho loads, and then there's certain parts of every game when we're like, oh, we don't actually need him. When we're fully pressurizing and have the opponent locked in their fight, in their defensive third and our final third, then we don't need Jorginho that desperately. But when we're struggling to like play it around them, when we're struggling to have a build up to actually create chances from the get go, then we really, really need Jorginho. So, you know, I would go with that, especially now that Kovacic seems to have figured out how to score goals again, which of course is good. And I want a midfield three. I want a 4-3-3. I don't want a 4-2-3-1. I want those three. It might not work, and we might be hindering ourselves going forward, and I'm worried about that myself if we do start that. But I want to try it again, and then we can still bring Mason Mount on, or even put Pulisic into the 10 and go all out for the win if, it doesn't happen for us with the midfield three that I would go for. But, I think we have to do that. I think they're just all of them three are so good that they can't be on the bench. And Mason Mount has been good in some games, poor in some other games, but I just don't think he's influential enough to keep any of those three off the pitch. That's just how I see it. Once Ruben is back, it's a whole different story, but I just see it that way at the moment. And coming to the wingers, now, seeing as how Hudson-Odoi, came on against Everton and how poor he was, I don't want him to start. Like, he looked slow, he looked lethargic, he looks not fully fit in my opinion. Like, I just don't want him to start. Of course, if he starts and he's then different, fine. But, I can't judge that because he came on from, he's only come on from the bench since obviously his hamstring problem. And Pulisic, I mean, he's just been doing well. So, he stays in the team if he's fit enough because he's been playing a lot of football. And Willian, he wasn't good against Everton. I agree, he really wasn't. But still miles better than anything Hudson-Odoi did when he replaced him. So, I thought, Willian, he really annoyed me during the Everton game. Hudson-Odoi came on and annoyed me way more. So then I was like, William wasn't actually that bad in comparison. And then, of course, Tammy Abraham has to start up front. I'm not even making a separate pop-up on the lineup here because there's no debate about it. Tammy Abraham just has to start. And then, like I said multiple times in this video already, we simply have to win. This is a game in which I don't care about the performance. I don't care if we smack them 5-0, if we grind out a 1-0 win, or it's another crazy game, we win like 4-3 or something. I don't care. Just win, no matter how. If we have to be dirty, be dirty. Time waste the shit out of it if we have to. And start shooting from 30 yards if we have to do that as well. Just win. No more brain farts defensively, please. None of that. No more daydreaming by Kurt Zouma like he did for Everton's third goal. No flapping about as a centre-back like Christensen keeps doing. No more stupid passes by Kepa either. We just need to be fucking on it. Like, be fucking focused 100% for the entire 90-plus minutes. It's not children's football here where you're just focused for like half an hour each half. Like, no. I know some of them are young, but just get on it, lads. Like, this is a big game. You better play like it's a bloody big game. And when we have the chance, we need to start bloody shooting. Because that's really not what we did against Everton. And with Lampard as a manager, that just makes absolutely no sense. And we just need to work. Work your fucking socks off, lads. For the entire game. Outwork Lille. Outplay Lille. Because we are a much better football team than they are. And then beat Lille. Do that. It sounds simple, but let's just do that. My score prediction, personally, is going to be like the first leg, a 2-1 home win, which would, of course, put us through and which would make me very happy. Of course, I would love to beat them 4-0. But like I said, I just want to win. I just want to win. That's all that matters. But yeah, guys, I'm going to leave it here. I think this video is quite long as it is, even though I spoke quite quickly in some parts of this video. But I do appreciate all of you guys that did tune in. I was meant to say this at the start, but forgot, so I'm gonna say it now. Please be sure to subscribe to Blues Fans TV if you haven't already, and also be sure to smash that notification bell button, because we've noticed recently that a lot of people that are subscribed to our channel don't actually receive our videos in their sub boxes. Like, it's happened to our own personal accounts that we actually don't see our own videos show up. So, you know, we've had other people tell us as well, so that is a problem. So if you don't want to miss any of our videos, because we do upload almost every day, not every day, but almost every day, and especially around games, do make sure you press the notification bell button so you are notified whenever we do upload a video. And of course, drop a like on this video as well. That would be massively appreciated, especially if you made it this far. Just go down below and smash a like. But yeah, guys, that's really been it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. Can't wait for the game tomorrow. I'm excited, but I'm also really, really nervous. I just hope we get that win. But yeah, up the Chelsea, and I'll see you when I see you.